Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. This is Loretta Stronowski from Remax Costa Del Mar, and we have a very informative show for you today. This was my idea as I am one of the board members, but I didn't know anything about the board. I still don't, which I'm hoping to find out this weekend because we have a board meeting. But today we have two of the board members that can make it on the show. And thank you so much, Gina and Jenny, for coming and being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
You betcha.
So I'm just going to come from the area that I am. Was like I don't know anything about the board of directors. I didn't know how many people there were. I didn't sort of know how they were involved, all that kind of stuff. So first of all, let's just start. You guys give an introduction of yourselves so we know who you are.
Okay.
Sure. Go ahead, Jenny.
All right. My name is Jenny Radigan, and I've been a board member less than a year, although I've been involved with Barb's Dog Rescue for over 10. And I'm mom of 9 kids and 8 dogs.
That's what happens when you become a board member. I went from no dogs to 2. And how long have you been living in Rocky Point?
I've been in Penasco for 7 years, living here full time.
And what is your other career other than rescuing dogs?
Well, I am also a teacher. So I teach here. I teach at the university, although I've taken a little hiatus because I'm the full-time caregiver for somebody in my home. And I'm also a foster mom. So I have foster children here in Mexico. And I do customer service. So I have a job that I answer phones and I do customer service.
Wow. And what do you do in your spare time? Sleep.
I feed the homeless, actually. We have this program. That's an amazing program that feeds the homeless every Saturday and anytime that we get a chance to, actually.
So if anyone wants to help out in volunteering, you're a good person to connect with.
I hope so. Tell them to come. I'd love help.
And Gina, what about you?
I am the CEO and the fundraiser for Barb's Dog Rescue, and I've been doing that. It will be a year in November. But when Barb got sick, I guess we probably started about 2 years ago, she reached out to me for help. And so I was able to kind of learn the ropes of things while she was still with us, which is wonderful. And prior to that, I've been a high school teacher. I was a realtor for 17 years before taking on the responsibilities at Barb's, and it came at a perfect time because I was ready for a change.
I can relate to that very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Gina, I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, but you're probably your experience has been longer at the rescue. Like, would you be able to give us insight on the history of the rescue?
Are you asking me or Jenny or both of us?
Both
I'm
of you
sorry.
guys. I'm not sure how
Oh,
long
okay.
you guys have, what
Yeah, I first met Barb about, I don't know, 11 years ago maybe, and I just kind of stumbled upon the rescue. And of course, I looked at my family and I was like, you guys need to pull off the highway right now. We need to go see what this place is all about. And so from that day forward, um, I didn't come to Rocky Point without spending time at Barb's and with Barb. And then I'm going to say it was just under 3 years ago that she did ask me to join the board. And so I've been a board member for about 3 years, but I've known her for 10 or 11 years and got fairly familiar with the operation, and just she became my hero instantly. Almost makes me cry thinking about it. But she was just somebody who I communicated with all the time, both about real estate stuff and dog stuff. She liked to talk about real estate stuff too, honestly.
Hey, who doesn't? Coming from a realtor. You tell I'm a realtor now, right? So, and I know we don't have the operations manager with us tonight, but you guys will know this. What does a day look like at the rescue? What's a typical day?
Sure. Jenny, you want to take any part of that?
Nope.
Well, during the hotter months, we open the place at about 7 o'clock in the morning. The staff starts to show up, and um, that's when medications go out. We've got the ladies who cook fresh chicken and rice every single day, and liver. And actually, I just got a video today of one of our staff members had a puppy in an apron wrapped around her, and she's just cooking away. And the things that they do in the morning, just in the first 2 hours of the day, is more than a lot of us do in an entire day. But they have got that operation down pat. They clean, they feed, they medicate, and then they start working through the interior of the rescue, and they let about 20 dogs out at a time. So every dog has outside playtime, and then through the course of the day, the dogs are rotated. And you guys have both seen how all of that works. Uh, and in the evening, they come in, they have their dinner, and they're usually settled in for the night by about 7 or 7:30. And now that we have Scarlett there full time, we have somebody there 24/7, which has been just a beautiful blessing. To always have someone there.
So I don't know if you know this or not, but for a fun fact, how much dog food do you go through in one day?
Uh, uh, well, they kind of estimate it. And so, we go through about 300 pounds probably of dog food a day. And and maybe more than that, but that also includes, or that doesn't include, the wet mixture that they use and the chicken that they use. We cook a lot of chicken. There are a lot of special needs diets there. And so, we probably cook 10, 15 pounds of chicken every day too, and rice, and go through that. Yeah.
Do they cook them in the oven, or they roast it or boil
No,
it?
it's a huge pot on the stove.
Boil.
It's really, yeah, they boil it.
Boiled
Yep.
chicken. It's the best, right? So both of you have seen lots of changes in the last few years. What are the challenges that the rescue faces today?
I'll let you go
Jenny?
first, Gina, because I feel like the financial part's the most important part.
Yeah.
Most
Well,
challenging?
there's a whole list. I mean, everything is a struggle. Um, Space is a struggle. Educating the public is a struggle. Part of the space challenges that we face are because the education piece in our community, although I know there's so many people working on it, are lacking. And until that gets handled, we will never have enough space. But for me, the space problem is the biggest problem, or issue. I don't know if you want to call it an issue or a problem or a challenge. It's a challenge. And then, of course, raising enough money to keep the operation not just functional but thriving. That is something that weighs on my mind, every second of every day. And it's just, we have to keep raising money, lots and lots of money. We need a Taylor Swift. I've said it many times before. We need celebrity status donors. That would be a game changer for us if we had, some multimillionaire that really decided to take on our cause and not only contribute towards it, but spread the word about it. I don't think that there's anybody who knows about Barb's Dog Rescue that isn't just dazzled by what's happening. And so, if we had a million people who knew about us, just think how that could benefit us. So those are my biggies.
So when you talk about space, what do we have now and what would be the ideal amount of space? Do you need more
Well,
land?
with
Do you need more structure? Do you need more, what part of space is that?
yeah. So with more space comes more staff, comes more vet bills. So, you know, even if we can create more space, we have to back it up with all of the resources that go alongside that. And it's all doable, but at the end of the day, if we don't get people spaying and neutering their dogs, we'll never have enough space or enough staff. And
So can
so
I speak to
education,
the
yeah,
community
yeah,
piece? So
yeah,
one
you
of the
bet, please do.
really unique things about Barb's Dog Rescue and the rescues in town is that, and I'm sure there are some in Arizona as well. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but in Penasco, the rescues go out into the town. They don't wait for dogs to come to them. They hear about them. We're on social media. We're on speed dial with a bunch of people that are out in the community constantly looking, assessing, grabbing what they need to in order to help them. So we have a number of things that we do in order to not have to bring them into the rescue. And one of them is that Barb's Dog Rescue does provide food for families that don't necessarily want to give up their dog.
Right.
They just simply can't afford to feed them in a way that would be appropriate for their dogs. A lot of times what happens is that these dogs are dumped and these families want to do the right thing. They're not necessarily asking for space. They're just asking for support. Barb's Dog Rescue is really, really in there on that, on social media, noticing when they're speaking and then stepping up to the plate and helping them. That really helps with space as well. And then, of course, there's a clinic that we all use that's free for the community. And so we also help provide transport for dogs in the community to go to the free clinic to get their dog spayed or neutered. And so we're not just waiting for them to show up to the rescue and then say, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We are actively trying to keep them out of the rescue and also keep them safe and keep them vaccinated and keep them fed. So we do have a two-pronged approach in terms of community versus the space that we need, because there are some dogs that just simply need to come in.
Okay.
And so
You got a fan there, Jenny, Petey.
I see that.
So
Hi, Petey.
so the clinic, the free clinic, how do they make money? Like if they're
They're also a nonprofit, and they work really. Barb's Dog Rescue works with all of the other rescues in town. Everybody is constantly talking because we have one goal. And again, I'm going to say, I feel like this is really unique to Penasco. We have an excellent working relationship with the other rescues in town. And I don't feel like that's very typical, at least in my experience with other rescues. Compassion Without Borders, who runs and they're a donation, 501c3. They run the Clínica La Esperanza, and they also transport dogs for Barbs. Esperanza will fix mothers and their puppies, and then Barbs will actually take those puppies and have them transported. So it's a really amazing relationship with the rescues and with the managers, with the board of directors. It's just a very, very positive relationship. Because of that relationship, we all have the ability to affect more dogs because it is donation based only. So for Americans or Canadians that are coming into Esperanza with dogs from the street, they can donate. They don't have to. It's not required. They're not an emergency clinic right now, but they will take dogs for vaccinations to get rid of the parasites and to get them sterilized. They do actually have a new doctor now who is bilingual, and he will actually be helping with well checks as well. Pretty exciting news for our town. And so between those, I think we are trying to solve the problem in a number of different ways.
Yep.
So, you also touched on that education is one of your challenges for the rescue. Can you expand on that statement?
So in the community, what we have is a culture of, uh, of, of really not caring for animals in the way that we would love to see them being cared for. And that's not all. That's just a large section of the population is kind of wrapped up in this culture where there's not a lot of responsibility. So one of the things that we have the ability to do at Barb's Dog Rescue, we do it with compassion, we do it at the clinic, we teach the parents, we teach children, we go into the schools, we talk to them, we have books. In fact, Barb's Dog Rescue has a book, and I'm so sorry to say I don't remember the name of it. I think it's Rufo Finds His Way Home. I don't remember. Rafa Finds His Way Home. I'll find the book. But there's a book that Barb's Dog Rescue used to give out years ago, and I don't know if they still have it on hand. I still have copies of it. And we bring that to the schools when we talk to the schools. When they come in fact, a lot of my students from my classes came to Barb's Dog Rescue, and that's some of our prized memories from the classes is the times that we went in, we gave them a tour, we showed them how many dogs there were, and we showed them how you can stop it. Part of that education also includes educating Americans and Canadians that are coming to visit on what is a dog in need, because our culture doesn't typically allow dogs to wander the streets. But the culture here does allow for it, and that does not mean they're not being cared for, and it doesn't mean we should take them. So it's really a two-pronged approach where we ask Americans, ask the owners. If you can't speak Spanish, ask one of us. There's bilingual board members. There's bilingual people, obviously, at the rescue itself. And so what we're asking them to do is ask us, let us come in and help you, see how we can solve the problem. And then the other approach is what we discussed, talking with the families, giving them those free vaccinations, going and grabbing those dogs. There's a campaign right now that the government is doing with one of the rescuers in town, and she's going every single week and giving vaccinations in all of the different colonios. So every single week she goes to another one, and volunteers come and help her, and they bring all the dogs. She's sweeping Penasco with vaccinations right now. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can you guys tell me about the volunteers, the volunteer network, how people volunteer? How many volunteers do you have? What do they do? What can they do? What do you want them to do?
Yeah, I get lots of offers from folks who would like to volunteer. And what I tend to do is talk to them about, the experience that they would like to have. Are you interested in coming and loving on dogs? Because we certainly have plenty of that to go around. Would you like to learn a little bit about the medical side of what we're doing at the rescue? And so we have, we always need more volunteers, but we have consistent folks who are spending time in Rocky Point and include us in a part of their getaway down here. And oftentimes they'll bring their families and their kids and really make it a part of their vacation almost. We have a wonderful group of people who have made great use of our dog park area and are working on harnessing and leashing and walking with dogs. And that sounds very simple, but for a lot of these dogs, they've never been on a harness. They've never had a leash on. And so that means a lot, and our dogs love it. We have volunteers in the community really all over the place. And Jenny spoke to this a bit. If we have a situation out on the street that has come to our attention, there are really a solid group of individuals who live down here who will jump in the car and locate whatever it is that happens to be going on and evaluate. And Jenny has been such a blessing to us in that because of her dual language skills, and she can talk to owners and get the lowdown and get the real story, and really get to the bottom of the issue and try to solve it. And so that's a beautiful thing. And especially for me being in Arizona, usually those alerts come to me either via telephone call or email. And so for me to be able to get on the phone and reach out to people who are here and have those people go, "Yep, we're on it. Let's go," is very, very valuable. It's precious and it's unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's another thing. People donate and volunteer in different ways. There are some people, they're not about the dog life. However, they'll bring us dog food every time. They just pile it in. They either pick it up at the Why Not Travel store, who's been a great support for us, or they'll just pick up dog food or any of their donations. Or we have dogs that, once they pass, they want all of their stuff to go to these dogs, because these dogs, they've never had toys. They've never had anything. They've had struggle for their lives. So a lot of these families send down these things because they want them to have that comfort beds. Even just having a collar on is one of the things that we try to do when we do go out into the street. We do identify a dog that we can support while they stay at home. We do put a collar on that dog. And we do that because we want to make sure that nobody thinks to themselves, "Oh, this dog is not owned," and take it home with them. But also because they're an owned dog, and they also, we have people that stop by literally just to give love. We have people that come with Sarah McDonald, organizes that walking that Gina was talking about, which is, just an amazing opportunity, especially for teenagers who don't want to do anything. Like if you have a teenager on vacation who doesn't want to do anything but put their earphones in and stare at their phone, this is a great way to get them animated. I mean, good luck getting out of there without a dog once you bring a teenager, but that is not a bad thing for us. Maybe for you guys, but not for us. But you really don't have to leave with the dog. You can just come in, and a lot of people, they just go around and they literally just give water to dogs on the street. Yeah. Which is in and of itself, like, this is exactly what we want at Barb's Dog Rescue. We want people caring about the dogs as much as us. We don't want to sit there around them caring. We want all of us to care just as much. So we are constantly posting things about, what can we do as an American, as a Canadian, as you walk in, what can you do? It feels very overwhelming in the beginning. You think to yourself, there's a lot of dogs wandering. It's hard to identify who has needs and who doesn't, which is where we can come in, if they have questions. But sometimes just literally taking your to-go container from Pollo Lucas or another restaurant and just sticking it down on the ground and filling it with water, it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing for them. Don't give them the chicken bones. That's bad for dogs. But the water and the container and a little bit of chicken juice, nobody's going to say no to that. So you don't even have to clean it out. That's how excited they are.
So I know we have that Take a Dog on Vacation program where someone can come out there if they're staying wherever, they're just here for the weekend, they can actually pick up a dog. Do they pick one out? Do you guys help them pick one out? How does that program work? And more importantly, how does it really work?
It's really successful.
It is. It's very successful. We have a couple of dogs out on vacation right now, and one dog, I'll just tell a quick story. She's a Doberman. She's beautiful. Her name is Venus. She has cancer. She's young and she has cancer. Some people came through the other day, and Scarlett helps guide people in the dogs that probably need a break more than others.
Right.
And anyway, they've got Venus right now, and they have been sending me the most beautiful, wonderful updates and pictures, and I haven't posted it yet. I'm waiting until Sunday. They are going to return Venus. They can't keep Venus, and they have made that very, very clear, and it tears them up, inside, but it's okay. I mean, we don't want to lay the pressure on too heavy for people to adopt, but I would say about 70% of the time, they just cross right over the border with that dog. That dog's not going back. to the
And
rescue. And it's
100% of the
such a
time, those
fun.
dogs get a break. So
Yeah.
1 week
Oh,
outside of that
absolutely.
rescue.
Yes.
So it's a win-win no
Yep.
matter what.
So can
No
you
doubt
guys
about
walk
it.
us through the adoption process, how that works? Whether it's a dog you took on vacation or whether you just stopped there and found a dog that you loved. What's the next step after that?
Yeah. Um, Most of our inquiries these days come in through our website. We now have our dogs, our adoptable dogs, and there are like 307 of them that are ready right now, today, to be adopted. And the rest of them are, either in the process of being medically treated or vaccinated and spayed and neutered and whatever. But um, usually those conversations start via email. Tell me a little bit about Fifi. What's her personality like? Does she have any medical conditions? And so the rescue provides me with that information. We often take videos. Sometimes we do FaceTime calls with potential adopters. We have a series of pre-adoption questions that are pretty standard to rescues that we ask. If they happen to be local, we do a home visit, a very non-invasive, friendly home visit. David is generally the one who does the home visits, and if it's a go, we prepare an adoption file, and we make it happen.
Because one of the things that we do ask for, every rescue here does ask for, is that they have a backyard.
Right.
As much as we do understand that there is a culture here where it is allowed, we don't. They have to have a
Fencing is a
backyard.
must. Yeah,
They have to protect them.
fencing is a must. And we had a situation just a couple of days ago with an American who lives down here. Not that that matters, but we did a home visit, and what we found was that the fencing was not sufficient, and so the answer was no. The last thing we want to do is adopt a dog out that's going to wind up
On the
wandering
street.
around on the street.
Right.
Yeah, so it was a no, and there was some unhappiness with that decision, but we got to do what's best for the dogs. And so, yes, Jenny, what you said is exactly right. There is that piece of the puzzle is absolutely non-negotiable. Must
Right.
have fencing. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Because it's not that we're trying to disrespect the culture. We do get it. We accept that.
Yep.
We also accept the fact that we are taking care of these dogs because of that culture. So
Right.
we have to mitigate that. Like, you can't bring a dog to the clinic and not have it spayed or neutered. They have to have a line because there are 5 million dogs and there has to be a line. So spay and neuter, absolutely essential. Barb's Dog Rescue doesn't adopt dogs out until they're fixed. It's just, it has to be that way. We can't risk that they're going to procreate, because if you stop one dog, one spay, one neuter, we're talking thousands of potential unwanted lives that are stopped, which means no suffering. The mothers can live longer. They're not suffering as well. So it's a big deal. So even though we want to find families and we want these dogs to have homes, they're not just going anywhere. We're not just giving them away. It matters where they go, and there's a vetting process, and it's important.
How much does it cost to adopt a dog?
We don't charge a set adoption fee. That was a policy that Barb established from the outset of the rescue. And so in Mexico, if you are a person who would like to have a dog and you, we've had the conversation and talked about the home. Oftentimes there's an exchange of photos involved. We're going to adopt a dog to you, whether you can pay an adoption fee or not. And there has been lots of conversation about that over the years, but I think Barb was spot on, because when you charge an adoption fee, they're going to pay the adoption fee. And what happens is that oftentimes when people adopt a dog from Barb's Dog Rescue, they'll donate $1,000 or $2,000,
Right.
or they'll become a recurring monthly donor. And so that decision has really paid off for us in terms of our donors and contributions. And so we're all, I think, very, very comfortable with that. It's a beautiful thing.
And
We may
for
be the only rescue around that doesn't charge an
right.
adoption
Penasco
fee.
is the only ones. And quite frankly, the studies show in the United States that free is not valued. So in the United States, this is not a system that they are
No.
probably ever going to be able to work with. But
Right.
here in Penasco, they don't charge because they do have a need for families. They do still vet. And it is really important, but Gina nailed it. What ends up happening is that we get it back tenfold.
Yeah.
That's what typically happens. We follow up with these dogs, what they're doing later. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs have gone through Barb's Dog Rescue. And yet, if we hear about even one of them having a problem, we're going to step up to help that family, or we're going to mitigate whatever the concern is and get that dog back. So we hang on to these dogs. They hang on to our numbers. They create relationships that help us to continue to grow and provide more for other dogs. So it's just a system that in Penasco has always worked.
Great. So can you share with us any upcoming exciting expansions, anything that's you guys have on the horizon?
Well, you could tell
Well,
Gina, you could tell them about the dog park, yeah? Because that's pretty new.
yes.
A lot of people haven't seen that.
Yeah. Yes. We were able to secure some of the land next door to the rescue. Funny how, it wasn't, we glammed onto it right away, but somehow it's not a popular place to decide to build a house. I don't know why somebody wouldn't want to build a house next to a place with 450 dogs, but it worked out for us.
There was
And
not a
so
long
we
line to
did.
get the property.
No. So we got that land and we're slowly but surely transforming it into an amazing dog park. And you guys have seen it, but our employees have built all kinds of cool little structures. And another one of our board members is constantly bringing in fun agility type equipment. And we are doing a fundraiser right now to help pave the entryway into the dog park with personalized brick pavers and benches. That's going really well. And it is a godsend to us, not only to the dogs, but to people too. It's a great place to do meet and greets if you're thinking of adopting a dog. What a beautiful place to come sit in the shade and really get to interact with your dog without the madness and the chaos of the rescue, environment. So it's a beautiful thing. And we have other things that are on the horizon too that I hope we'll be able to start talking about here in the next couple of weeks.
Gina, who is it? Is it Lisa Turnbull that keeps bringing that stuff down for
Yes.
Yes, Lisa Turnbull. I don't know how she gets some of the stuff down that she gets down. I think some of that stuff was bigger than her car. Like she's got I don't know, Mary Poppins bag. I don't know what's going on.
I know.
Or what she gets over that border.
I know.
But she's incredible.
She packs her car solid. She sent me a picture this morning of it was some stock photo of a car just piled. It was like vacation times 10. I mean, chairs and sofas and mattresses.
She is
So
she is Santa Claus for Barb's Dog Rescue. She is absolutely Santa Claus. Yeah, she is very funny. That's Lisa.
Yeah, that dog park is amazing. So
yeah,
I always try to do a foster Friday and go out and pick a dog. And so this week, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's the NHL playoffs.
Oh.
And NHL actually did a very cool promotion where they picked rescue dogs, a rescue dog for each team, and they even had trading cards and everything.
Oh, that's marvelous. I didn't hear that.
I know. So I'm going to do the same thing because there's 2 teams left, and I'm going to go out and pick 2 dogs, one for the Florida Panthers, one for the Edmonton Oilers. And everyone can pick their favorite team, and hopefully we can get
That's so fun. That's fun.
I did do it, I think, a couple months ago, and I think I might start it from what you said about the celebrity status. So, believe it or not, a lot of celebrities have rescue dogs. So I was doing this paparazzi, like that we'd pick a lookalike dog of a celebrity's dog. So maybe I'll get back to that. And if there's some celebrities that have lost their pet or want another one, Twitter works really well. So maybe I'll go to someone that'll touch their heart. You never know. It doesn't hurt.
Absolutely.
That would be fun.
So can you guys tell me, on an end note, we're coming up to the 1 year anniversary of Barb's death. Can you tell me what your memory of her for you is that's still is in your heart?
Yes. So about 6-7 years ago, I walked into the rescue, and we were chit chatting, and she was telling me about this dog and this dog and this dog, and we went into her kitchen, and she would call her kitchen the preschool. Little dogs run around all over the place, and um, she she handed me a dog that was like devouring her kitchen cabinet, just eating the wood and just mean and getting after it. And it was not a dog that I would normally be like, oh, look at this little thing. I mean, the dog wasn't adorable. The dog had a huge underbite, and she handed him to me, and she said to me, "You have got to get this dog out of here right now." I'm like, okay. I couldn't tell her no. I said, all right. So we kept the dog at our rental house over the weekend. And, I said to my kids, I'm like, it's no big deal. I know this isn't our kind of dog. We're going to love on it. And I mean, he took to us instantaneously, of course. We got him home. His name was Billy. So we named him Billy Ray Butthead. And the plan was to find Billy Ray Butthead a home. Well, every person that walked into my house from that moment on was like a snack. I've never had a dog that was so mean and awful to people, but loved us. There was no way I was ever going to find that dog a home. And she knew that. And she knew that it wouldn't matter to me. And so Billy Ray just went home this morning. I wish he was here. I would put him on the camera and let you see him. But yeah, so that's one of my many adoption stories from Barb's. There was no choice. I had to take Billy home.
Right. Jenny?
I have one. About 7 years ago, we lived out at the rescue. We lived at a house right next to the rescue, and we used to come every single night. And my little guy was super little. He was 7 years old, and my son, who was 12 at the time, was working right alongside us, feeding, medicine, all the rest of it. We handled the dinner time with Barb, and a lot of the times we'd go out and around the rescue, and we'd give the food to the outside. And there was these 5 black dogs. The Black Army is what my son calls them. So Oscar was in love with the Black Army, and the Black Army didn't want to be touched and was not in love with him. They were irritated with any type of noise that he made, but he didn't care because we had used to go with a trainer, and the trainer taught us how to pet our dogs, because one of our specialties is like the scared dogs, or the ones that bite, or because we kind of like to get them adoptable. And so Oscar decides that these dogs, who are literally up to his own face sitting down, he's going to start petting them. So he takes these dogs that have never been touched, and he starts petting them. I saw it on the camera with Barb. And so I went, oh my gosh. And I went to run out there. She puts her hand on my shoulder, and she said, shh, shh. He's doing it. Look at that. He's touching her. And he had one of the dogs by the chin, and he was petting her, literally making her sit up. And I thought, oh, his face is right there. But she's like, if his face is right there, she would have already bit him. She doesn't want to bite him. She wants the pet. And he's the one to do it. And I didn't run out screaming. I wanted to run out screaming. She held my arm the entire time. We watched it on the camera, fascinated. And at the end, we ended up getting every single one of those Black Army dogs to our home, got them kind of tamed, and got every single one of them adopted in the United States. They're living insane lives in the United States, from California to Colorado to northern Arizona. And that was all because Barb put her hand on my arm. And she always said this about said, they've got something, they've got something, they've got that gift with animals. Let them have it, and don't give them your fear. And harder done than said, but I definitely listened to that advice, and I always appreciated it.
Well, this is
Love that.
I wasn't planning to adopt her. Remember when we misplaced that little dog? I took her to hopefully she'd come out. Well, I didn't take her back.
I'm going to grab one of my 8.
Oh boy.
This is Matcha. She's actually a foster. So she is up for adoption, and she is, I never get these dogs. You know what I get? I take the hospice dogs, the dogs that they have the heart condition. We're probably only going to have them for a year. And so those are the dogs that we get. The other dogs we get are usually absolutely amazing dogs, but ugly. Like, they're like, Jenny, get this out of here. Nobody's adopting this dog. So these are the dogs that I have. And then I got her. Look how cute she is. She's 5 pounds and the cutest dog you ever saw. Are you getting follows me everywhere?
She's so cute.
Looks like it. That looks like a dog you're keeping, I have to say.
No. I can't, because I have to get more fosters.
Right.
So I can't be a foster fail. Sometimes just by, like, there's nothing we can do. They're not getting adopted, and I'm not going to get rid of them. But if they're adoptable, like she is,
she's cute.
Uber adoptable. So when she gets adopted, we'll get another dog to foster.
Well, girls, thanks so much for coming on today. I'm sure everyone learned a lot. And I'll be at the Foster Friday episode tomorrow.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing that.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend. See you
All
guys
right,
Saturday.
you guys. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Loretta.
much for having us, Loretta.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Gina.
it. Okay.
Bye.